Yeah, hey guys. So as we discussed yesterday, we kind of populated the different inbound and outbound activity channels with create record updates, like an update to the entity itself, items such as that. And how we ended it is that we now have these outbound activity updates that need to be acknowledged by the sources. So for example, source NetSuite and source Salesforce have two different essentially create record updates on their channel that we need to pull. So today's topic is going to cover some of the essentially the MDM inbound actions, specifically the query. So what the query does is query essentially fetches all these channel updates, so 1 to n. And I think n in this case is the batch limit's about 200 records. So if you have 200 records, that's kind of the limit for that batch. Another thing to note is that filters are ignored. So those are specific to a get. So if you do implement filters, it's not going to do anything. Couple other items to kind of note is that the use case behind this is that once you query your channel update, essentially you're acknowledging that batch. So what you'll see once it's delivered is, I'm trying to think of specific fields, but there's like a delivered ID, so a unique identifier for that, when it was delivered, when it was acknowledged. So you can either automatically acknowledge or manually acknowledge. That's two different use cases for that. And then you're supposed to sync that record back into that source. So for example, if I'm pulling this from NetSuite, I should make NetSuite aware. And then from there, maybe NetSuite updates that, and it's that constant push-pull we've constantly talked about. So first things first, to get that, let's just create an MDM query action. So I'm going to pull a new MDM connector. So I'm going to pick a query. So my connection is going to be MDM connection. I'm going to have a new operation because I haven't done query before. So MDM connection, I believe the source ID is NS. So hopefully that's right. Yep, so I got my employee object model. So now I am finished. So as I mentioned, the filters are essentially not used for this. So right now, just the default settings is that we're going to automatically acknowledge. So once you pull it, it's considered acknowledged, and we're going to get all update requests. So that's completely fine. No filters needed for this. So I'm just going to name it. Let's name it NetSuite query just to make it easier and visible. And then what I should see is those two create record updates in an XML-based document. So I'll do that, and I'll put a stop shape. Cool. Save, and let's run it. So we should get those two documents that I mentioned. So let's see. Great, two documents, and I'll just show you an example of one. So to create, there's the golden record ID, transaction time, and the fields specifically. So what people normally do is they'll sync this, as I mentioned, to NetSuite, and then it's just constantly a bidirectional sync. If NetSuite changes something, you submit it back to MDM, and then Salesforce is aware, and if Salesforce makes a change, you pull this similar to what we did. And then the other thing I kind of wanted to show with this is notice our outbound activity for NetSuite now. So we have two records delivered. So we have the acknowledged date, the delivered date, because they should be the same because we automatically acknowledge, and that unique delivery ID associated with that. All right, sounds good, guys. Have a nice day.